Sky Striker is top tier in my hands. Let's go.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
This is freaking everywhere, and it's pissing people off. So this could be a good reason why you'd want to play Sky Striker more so than other decks. We don't get floodgated out, really. We have a lot of tools in our toolbox, the toolbox deck. Now, while this prevents us from special summoning, this also is able to negate anything, so we have to be very careful about that. Let's see how we play around this. We got the upstarts. Let's get the spells in the graveyard here. Spirit Mastery, which could Lava Golem the field, but the Vanity would stop me from even special summoning it. We're just going to get another spell into the graveyard to have 3, as we now have the Lava Golem here. And now we can engage. Come to us, Widow Anchor, which can negate and steal, but then the Sage can negate our negate mate. But then we can triple Tactics Talent mate, so we have even more plays on top of plays. We could even thrust for another engage, which engage could grab another Widow Anchor. None of the Sky Striker cards are hard once per turn. Negate and destroyed. Well, that's okay. Let's thrust into our hand another engage with multiple spells in the graveyard. So fret not against stun on the ladder if you've stopped playing because of that, because this will clap them up. We even have another upstart goblin if we want to. Let's take control, and it is now negated. Let's now triple Tactics Talent, take control further. So clap up those stun fools. This is a not so good hand. Rose is not the preferred Sky Striker. We'd rather have Ray, because what the heck? Does she even have an alt art? Maybe unreleased. Well, what do we do with the single freaking Rose? Let's begin. Well, of course, we're going to normal summon her and then have to link off into a Shizuku. We're going to have to end phase plays like a branded deck. Shizuku searching within the end phase for a linkage. You need your toggle on for this. Activate the linkage, send the Shizuku to come forth and summon into our Sky Striker Ace 0. Still, within our main phase 3, we are going to be searching for the Lemnis Gate. Lemnis Gate's going to return 2 cards engraved back in the deck so that we now have its trigger effect engrave. How good will this be? How many disruptions do we have? This could pop a card in the field, we can negate a monster, and then we could link off with the Lemnis Gate to banish a monster on the field. That's at least triple disruption, not counting the Called By, not counting the Ash, not counting the Super Polymerization. Now you may be thinking, how do we gain a card in our hand where we're not gonna have to use Ash? Well, maybe we're gonna pull off that play. Lightning freaking Storm, you're not gonna see any of that because it's all gone. Now, what is this mad lad trying to do? He's trying to link off and search for the field spell. We're gonna get rid of you. We're going to summon from the deck in graveyard, wipe you away, and then he's just going to reborn it back in the field. We have to have another form of disruption here. I lost out on my Widow Anchor. We're now going to use the Ray to go into a Kagari. Kagari would have given us that additional card to discard with the Super Polymerization if needed. Kagari, add the Widow Anchor back, and then Lemnis Gate trigger, come forth and link off into getting freaky with Ziki. Ziki, banish away the Balone. So with just a freaking Rose and against a Lightning Storm, banish it away, and just like that, GG. Thanks to the new cards, you can make incredible plays with a horrible hand. Let's activate Engage into a Fua loss. All right, well, you have an opportunity to hit them with one finger. 2 stones, 1 finger, let's see. Or it's 2 birds, right? The birds and the stones. So by chain the linkage, they have the opportunity to activate another Fua loss. And if they activate the second Fua loss, you then get to finger both with 1 finger. But unfortunately, he has a max freaking C. So we're only going to be fingering the max C instead. Finger the, and just like that, let's now resolve it up. The Fua loss is going to prevent us from making better plays this turn. They get at least 1 draw on the summon of our Sky Striker Ace 0. That's fine. Add to our deck from the hand. Come to us, Lemnis Gates. 0 on someone's gonna be searching for another engage. We do have 3 spells in the graveyard now, thanks to the Call by the Grave, as we come forth into a Widow Anchor and additionally draw a card into a thrust. Now, am I playing Black Oat Laughs in this version? I did take out the Black Oat Laughs and then I put it back in because I'm like, damn, I would have much better set a trap from the deck. So what are we doing here against the Fua? We only got to summon the Sky Striker Ace 0, otherwise I would have summoned a Kagari. We would have further made more plays. We have 1 less disruption where this otherwise would have been a trap. Setting up with the Wedju Temple into the Snake Eye Doom Dragon. We're gonna Widow Anchor, negate. Now, do I take control mate? If I take control, then our other Widow Anchor would not be activatable. So now we're gonna have to do something about that. As they normal summon a Gursu, Gursu's gonna send from the deck a Harp Horror. Before he activates the effect to summon tokens on the field, I'm gonna wipe him away. Come forth and summon for the deck, Ray and Rose. This is the way. Magnum Hunt's going to banish away the 0. We're just going to return the 0 back in the deck so that you cannot banish the. Not today. Now, we could still trigger our synchro play, I should say link play, as soon as they summon onto the field into an Orcus Nightmare. We're going to go into a Ray. Ray's going to go into Kagari. And thanks to the Lemnis Gate, where he was trying to banish our cards, so we made sure to have it in grave early. As we now banish it, linking this off as we also add from the grave back to our hand. This is very simple plays the Lemnis Gate. Zeke is here. Zeke banished the Fool away, does not go to the graveyard, banished, so we got some simplified Sky Striker plays. Let's see if we can get more complicated. How about going second? Wow, Dragon Maid love to turn on your Super Polymerization. How do they do that? Well, let's find out. Magnum Hut, banish away the Lubellion. Let's speed this up as he Kitchen Dragon Maid, search the deck, discard, and then summon the Lady Dragon Maid, banishing both. Lady Dragon Maid being a light. So all you have to do is put another light monster onto the field, and we're going to fuse it away before it activates in the standby phase. And thankfully, they are none the wiser. This has happened maybe 3 or 4 times I've played against Dragon Maid. I always have the Super Poly. They always summon the Hieratic Seal, and the Hieratic Seal turns on the Super Poly. Let's come forth. I mean, I thought this was a quick replay. Doesn't he just surrender it after this? Super Poly, fuse in the draw phase, no fusion play, no way with the Hieratic Seal. He's gonna hit me with the Fool Loss, and we're gonna be chaining the linkage plus the Call by the Grave. So I always try to bait out another Fool Loss or another Max C before activating the finger. Use your quick effects first, because you could hit 2 Fool Loss with 1 finger if they chain another one. Linkage into the Sky Striker Ace 0. I think this will just be showcasing a simple lethal play. He actually has a Bestial in hand, so we have to play around that. We're going to be adding, we were in the draw phase through all that. Now, come to us, a linkage. Linkage is going to allow us to make great plays during the battle phase. We're going to engage again for a Widow Anchor. I could take control of an opposing monster if they special summon. On the attack, Baldrake come forth. Thanks to the new power of Sky Striker, we have crazy one-turn kill capabilities. Let's max C to maybe draw into another card to help out with our lethal play. The talent is not going to help with that. Zero's going to come forth and summon Ray and Rose to wipe the Fool away. If we take control of their monster, we're not going to be able to activate the linkage. We need to have no monsters in the main zone, as we're now going to get the Lemnis Gate engrave. So you saw the Lemnis Gate being used as disruption, and now you're seeing it being used for one-turn killing. We're gonna link off into the Kana after the Rose is already declared an attack that will trigger the Lemnis Gate to turn the Rose and the Kana into a Zeke. Now, this is just a turn on the linkage. Otherwise, we could have attacked to both, but we would have not had game. Since we now have enabled the use of linkage, since we have to have no monster in the main zone, we summon a boosted up Kagari, add back the linkage, swing for 3k, and then the linkage is activatable again. You gotta be very careful with taking control of the monster, turning off your linkage, summoning your monster from the deck, and then your linkage no longer works. Hornet Drones, linkage, and Ray. Ain't no way he's gonna activate the Fool Loss, even though we're summoning the token from nowhere. Let's activate the Called by the Grave, banish it away. Not today. I'm not going to be baiting with the linkage here because I'm just going to be normal summoning Ray. If you have the Hornet Drones and the Ray, I'm essentially just using the Hornet Drones as another spell in the graveyard. That's all I'm doing here. Into an Impermanence. So by holding on to the linkage, you can now play around Imperm on your own turn. There's so many cool plays in Sky Striker. I think that more decks need to be like Sky Striker, where we have optimal interaction with the opponent. They're interacting with me, I interact with them, I dodge the Impermanence, and just like that, Zero will be searching and will be summoning a Kagari off of this, or a Kana. Now, why summon a Kana and not a Kagari? Sometimes you need to have all 3 spells in graveyard. If you summoned a Kagari here, it actually would have been a mistake, because what are we searching for? An engage. So we go into Kana, keep the 3 spells in grave, we then engage, get the optimal benefit of drawing an additional card, and then you can make a Kagari without the linkage, just link off into it. I think this is a big mistake a lot of people are making, just straight away going into Kagari. As you saw in my head, I thought we were just going to Kagari. And now we have that 3 spells instead of 2 engages in the hand, just a very simple interaction here. Think about going into a non-Kagari to keep the spells, and then use your engages from there. We would be searching, draw, Kagari, add, searching, draw, a lot more plays from there. All right. What the heck is this? I have the Dark Spirit Mastery and the Lava Golem in my hand already. Well, Let's make a play from here. Upstart the Goblin, really good for getting a spell into the graveyard. We're gonna ray it up into the Sky Striker Ace 0. 0 is gonna get hit with an impermanence, and this time we do not have the linkage play. Now, you could maybe argue that this engage should have set up the linkage preemptively if you wanted to play around the impermanence as we saw in the other replay. Maybe that would have been a good idea now that I'm rewatching this. Linkage into Impulse. Oh my gosh, I'm getting completely hand-trapped here. This is nuts. Imperm, Impulse, and I'm just passing on this. I can't even use the Thrust. He didn't activate any monster effects. So with just the 0, what can we do? It is a Spright deck, and Spright is heavily reliant on having a level 2 on the field, especially if they normal summoned it. So just understanding the matchup here, wipe this fool away, and that's enough to win. That's how easily Spright gets broken. Damn. Now, we are in a Droll meta, so what Upstart could do is it could enable Droll. You Upstart, they Droll, we could have engaged instead, and then you lose to a Droll. So that's definitely a reality. We are going second, though. He is searching for the Shining Sarcophagus. Now, why am I ashing such a small effect? Against any other deck, you would not be ashing a simple search your deck. That's because I've identified that the Shining Sarcophagus deck sucks, and they can't do any other better search. If you're playing against, let's say, a Blue Eyes deck, and you negate them simply searching for one card, that would normally be a wrong play, because you know there's better plays to negate, like the Wishes search for 2. And I don't think this deck has any way to summon from the deck. Has no way to summon from the deck, can't search for multiple cards in one search, thus a simple Ash is obviously enough to beat them. Max freaking C. So what do we do under the C? We're gonna Upstart Goblin safely because he's gonna Droll his own Max C. I mean, maybe they would, as we now have the multi-roll. We're gonna send the Lemnis Gate. There can be only one. What does this do against Sky Striker? Well, if I read this, each player can only control one of each type. If a player controls 2 or more monsters of the same type, they must send some to the graveyard so they control no more than one monster of that type. Well, how much does this Floodgate screw us? Or maybe you should play this in your own Sky Striker deck. Let's find out. Every Sky Striker spell we activate alongside the multi-roll will trigger in the end phase to reset multiple cards from the grave. Ray it up. Can I even activate the effect? As we're not going to do so because we're under Max C. So this showcases a good way to play around Max C and even around Floodgates. So simply setting the Widow Anchor, reset the Lemnis Gate onto the field. Now you do have to remember, the card that gets reset off of the multi-roll, it will be banished instead of being sent to the grave, so we don't get the additional disruption here. So simply Ray against Max C, no activate, we're good. Future Silence is simply, as I said, this deck just adds 1 for 1. They don't do any other big plays. We're going to Max C after I identify that this special summons without activating. So you'd simply look for her colon. Does she have a colon? No colon on her special summon. Thus, you Max C on the resolution with your toggle on. We're going to grab an Ash. I'm going to be chaining the Ray, mate. Come forth and special summon as I'm going to Widow Anchor. So instead of using the Ash Blossom, just going to jump off the field into a 0, take control, negate. 0 can then pop a card in the field. As you saw, the Ray was activatable with the 0. Now, a ruling could be, can 0 even activate with the there could be only one? Because 0 is attempting to summon 2 monsters onto the field against the there could be only one, but the there could be only one says there can only be one. So you're going to be summoning a Rose and a Ray, and that is a legal play. You summon both onto the field, then you have to send one to the graveyard. So it does not disallow this from activating. You do summon, you do pop, and all is legal off of that. Now, how should you build your Sky Striker deck? The problem with my deck showcases generally is I take out Fualos, I take out Max C, I take out Drone Lockbird because they ruin my highlights. I do not want to be winning through those cards. So we're going to be looking at the website here on how you should build this deck. This is a good generic build of how you should play the deck right here. I know some people don't have Upstart Goblins. What you could do is type in Upstart Goblin and then just filter it out. Now, I think Upstart Goblin is ideal in this, even though it does play into a Drone Lockbird. It fills up your grave with spells so that you can get the most out of your engage. The Black Goat Laughs, as you saw in a previous replay, we thrusted and I had nothing to set because I optimized my deck for replays of highlights, and this is not really a highlight card. We unfortunately missed out on a disruption, and this also could be sent to the grave. Now, what's really good with Droplet is being able to take control of your opponent's monster and then use Droplet to send it to the graveyard to open up your main monster zones. If you have something on the field that you could use linkage with, but you don't use linkage on it, what you're going to do is you're going to activate linkage, and then you're going to chain Forbidden Droplet. You can then send every other card to the graveyard so that Droplet's the only card in the field, and then Droplet will be sent with linkage. That is a way to have an immensely efficient Droplet play in addition to using linkage with Widow Anchor. So, you know, and a lot of plays are just putting this on the lower chain link. Sometimes it's a good idea to just set a card from the hand, activate linkage, and then chain your other cards that you want to send to the graveyard and not specifically send the card that you set on the field. In fact, similar to the Droplet is a cool play with linkage and Widow Anchor. What you could do is on the lower chain link, think of it like stacking plates, you lower linkage on the first chain link, and then you activate Widow Anchor. Well, what's going to happen? Widow Anchor is going to take control of their monster, and then the linkage is going to send it to the graveyard. Get rid of their monster so that you could activate your other Widow Anchors in addition to that. And if we want to specifically look at a deck list or two, we'll look at a tournament topping deck list for the Torno. Is there anything I disagree with here? The Jamming Waves is, you know, kind of a suspicious card to be playing, but if it worked out for him, that's great. Maybe you're going to want the one that destroys a monster in a back row in addition, but otherwise this is looking quite standard. The Heavy Storm and Harpy Feather Dust are also quite interesting if you want to play more of a go first build instead of having turn 2 cards. And then we have a Raiding Duelist here. Pot of Desire, triple Upstart Goblin. He is with the Super Polymerization. I've been playing Super Poly. I think it's very much important. It's great when going first and also definitely going second, as you saw against Dragon Mages fuse up their field. Let's see what else we have here. This is just a spicy deck. He says, this is a deck I'm having fun with in rated duels at the moment, but if you're learning Sky Striker, do not copy this deck, haha. And then also make sure to check out their replays. So if you want to go into expert mode with this deck, this is maybe something I'd be trying out afterward. And there you go, Sky Striker is here and it is top tier in everyone's hands.